Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we are here with Savage Saturday Comic Review 40. Yep, 40 of them in the books. How cool is that, right? Anyway, the book we are reviewing today is Conan the Barbarian, issue 105. And this is titled The Castle of the Whispering Shadows, but it's actually based on a story by Elsbach de Camp and Lynn Carter called The Castle of Terror. I first read that story in this book here, Conan of Samaria, number 2 in the series that was published way back in the day by Ace Fantasy. But a little cool fact about this is, so this book was printed in 1984. Now, what's the big deal about that? By 1984, this book with this classic cover, this is the 12th printing, which lets you know how many times this book has been in circulation. The 12th printing, and that was in 1984. All right, and it's been reprinted countless times over the years as well. But this is the original book I read that story in. I reread it again, and reread the comic again before I did this review just for fun. And it's definitely an odd tale. It's a fun tale, and what I like about it is it leans more on the horror side of Hyboria, where in just that whole time period. And I always like it when things lean a little bit more towards the horror side. Now, as I do, and as you guys know, I'll have pictures over here showing you the inside of the book, the cover, so on and so forth, to give you an idea of what's going on. And having read the original story and the Roy Thomas adaptation, they are almost spot on exact. And that's what I really liked about Roy Thomas's adaptations. He was able to take something, adapt it, stay faithful to it. You add little pepper, some stuff in there, which built up the comic history and lore as well, and filled out maybe a weak spot here, a weak spot there, or something that just added to the universe he was building. This story is no exception. Again, adapted from the story The Castle of Terror by Elsbach de Camp and Lynn Carter. This one they called Whispering Shadows instead of Castle of Terror. And they put a nice little cover right here by John Buscema. All right, and this apparition does not appear in the story. I just think they thought it made a great cover. The inks on that were from Bob Wyachek, so we get into it, and Conan's been the war chief of the Bomulus for quite a while now. For after the death of Belit, and he moved on. His next stop was ended up becoming war chief of the Bomulus. But there's some some tribe elders there that are not liking him, and they're the high priest, and they're the high priest of a Juju, which is their god. They see Conan as an outsider. He's not one of them. They're working behind the scenes to get the people to revolt and turn against them. And this one priest is accusing all the faults that have happened, all the bad things that have happened on their tribe, on Conan. Because now they've hit a drought, they've hit famine, there's been a plague around. And he's attributing all that to Conan, and he's blaming him. And he's going all out. And inside, again, art by John Buscema, inks by Ernie Chance, and I already said Roy Thomas. But this high priest is going all out, and he's getting the other priests against him, and together they're rallying the whole tribe against Conan, trying to get them to slay him. Conan defends himself verbally, but smartly. He's not acting out of rage. He knows if that he acts any kind of out of sorts, this whole tide could turn on him in a second, and he wouldn't be able to overcome a whole tribe of people. He does reach a breaking point, though, when once a high priest just accuses him flat out, says everything's on him. They should slay him, flay him, and feed his heart to their dogs. And that's when Conan snaps and kills him with one stroke of his sword. And he takes their wooden god carved idol and topples it over on the other priest. And Conan makes his hasty escape through the jungle. And he's gone. All he has with him is his broadsword and a bow and arrow. And he knew there was no more sticking around for him. And so he took off. He's on his way out, and he's just rushing. And he's on his way to Kush. It's the closest city to him, or at least he's like, they're civilized people. I can turn a hand at with my sword. At least being a mercenary, make some coin, fill up the purse, and have some ale, some partying, some women, survive. And so Conan's on his way. He stops to drink some water, and he's he eats, and there's not much left for him after that except to keep making his way. So Conan's on his way, but once he hits the plains and the steppes, it's all kind of open, high grassy fields. He can feel eyes on him, and he knows there's a pride of lions that are now tracking him. And this part is about the only part that's a little different from the book. It gives Conan a few more arrows in his quiver to fight a few more to fill out the pages. Lets him take down a few more lions on his trek towards Kush, right? Um, in the original story, it was just Conan surviving, running. He used the last of his arrows. In this one, he doesn't run out of arrows. He feathers a few lions and takes them down, and he's on the run. And then he's just flat out, being stalked by this pride of lions, and he's on the run for over an hour. And even him, he's starting to tire. He's starting to wear down. The lions can sense it, and they're starting to do their lion thing where they have a few out in the front, and they're closing a circle on Conan, and they're trapped in a circle, and that's it for them. So just as they're about to trap Conan, Conan stumbles upon this kind of barrier, and all the lions just stop dead. Conan's on the other side, and it's still the open plains. But he looks down on one side where the lions are. The grass is lush and green. Where he is, it's dead, it's brown, and the ground looks like cursed ground. But right now, it saved Conan's life, so he's not really questioning it too much. And he starts walking, still in the direction. There's only lions behind him. The only place to go is forward. And he comes across this broken castle. And here's where the adaptation is really cool, because what was all descriptive exposition in the story, he has Conan quoting and saying, and just like it's coming from the Sumerian himself, and it's really cool, and it actually adds a little bit more to the story, makes it a little more fun to read. So he's in this place, and it's full of odd angles. It's misproportioned. It's out of shape, and it kind of throws off your senses. Even the stairs are built too small for human feet. There's something odd about it. But Conan gets a great weariness upon him. He's been running for over an hour. He was in a fight. He's physically exhausted, and he slumps down, broadsword in hand, clutched in his fist, and he starts to sleep. And in his sleep, he's haunted by shadows, and he knows his sleep self that he's in an ensorcelled sleep now. He's having trouble waking up, but he knows the apparitions can't kill him or harm him in their shadow form. They have to take physical form to cause him harm, and but he still can't wake up, and he can sense that they're starting to all come together to make one giant manifested form so they can slay him and devour him. But just as they're forming, these riders arrive, these Stygians. So there's this pack of 40 Stygians, and they're on the way actually to be at war with all the people that Conan left behind. And it's all about fighting for land, fighting for the waters and the crops, and it's just all kind of political and power trying. And right now, Conan's in the middle in this cursed castle. These guys, it's raining outside like a torrential downpour, and they need cover. They come upon the castle and decide to go in. None of them have a great feeling about it, but they're out of options at that moment. So you got 40 Stygians that are inside. They build a fire, they assign a guard, and they start to sleep. Conan's able to wake up at this point because the monster is now distracted by a much bigger meal, right? There's 40 people down there for this monster to devour, and it's a monster that is still manifesting, still drawn upon all the souls that's captured and killed in there to create one big mass, one giant monster. And these guys have been partying since they built the fire. Right? They've been drinking, they've been feasting, and the beer and the ale, the mead, it's getting to them. They're passing out. One guy's on guard, and the creature starts to manifest. And you get this great panel of Conan just in horror at watching it manifest above him. And Conan's not a guy to leave people to die, but he knows if he wakes them or tries to call out to them, he's an outsider. They'll slay him instantly and not think anything of it. So he's stuck. He can't call to them. If he calls to them, he's either going to have them kill him or the creature kill him. And only thing he can do is wait for an opportunity to escape. And that opportunity is not long in coming. This creature, which was described as having hundreds of heads and limbs and stuff in the book, is depicted really well by John Buscema inside. It's in, I'll have it over here, but it's just a great, great beast, sorceress beast that's going to murder all these people, and it just starts devouring them. Even the ones that wake up in time to fight back, but they don't have time to put on their armor, their mail, they're just getting slaughtered. And every time they cut off a head or a limb, that head or limb grows back, because this is an source of manifestation. It's something that won't die by a regular blade, and it's just devouring these 40 soldiers. And Conan makes his path straight through, over a window, down, and back into the courtyard, where he sees all their saddled horses. And Conan's on his way to the horses, and one Stygian has escaped. And Conan's trying to, look, let's have a rogue's truce. We can both escape together. But the guy's already mad with fear and gone a little bit crazy from all the death and terror that's just happened inside this castle. And he rushes Conan to kill him. Conan slays him on the spot, steals a horse, and is on his way to Kush, having survived the horror. And Conan at this point doesn't care what he runs into. Nothing's going to scare him like that castle did. He almost met his death there, and he feels lucky to escape with his life. And then from here, we're on to the next adventure. So the art in this book, A+. The story, this is I would call this a B story, not an A story. It's a good story. I love the horror elements, but it's a story where Conan's mostly watching throughout. He's not the most active participant, and they flesh it out a little bit more in this. But you want to see Conan fight the creature. He doesn't get to do that. They do make, but I also like that in a way because they make something that even Conan can't slay. And his only option is a smart retreat. And he takes a smart option because Conan is not stupid. He knows when he can engage and when he cannot engage. And he took the only path available. So the conclusion, we're gonna give the conclusion an A, because it's well thought out, and and you let something be stronger than the hero sometimes. Otherwise, it's boring. Conan and every other person in this who meets this creature, that creature is their match. You're not overcoming it, and I like that aspect of the story. And it kind of touches on something that's like true horror, something you can't overcome, something you're going to face that you have absolutely zero power over. And that's where the story excels. Again, inks by Ernie Chan, A+. I don't think anyone ever inked John Buscema better than Ernie Chan, in my opinion. Although Alfred Alcala is a close second. He was fantastic as well. But Ernie Chan is my favorite inker of John Buscema art. But that's the Savage Saturday review for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you liked a little bit of the history I gave you. And until next time, keep it casual.